Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show. And now, here's Jeff Crilley.
Welcome back to the Jeff Crilley Show. The show is just speeding along. So this segment is about Friends of Wednesday's Child, and if you've been in North Texas for a while, certainly you remember Gloria Campos, and now Cynthia Izagari does the pieces on Channel 8. My guests right now, Lee Harris and Chris Reynolds. They're both board members with Friends of Wednesday's Child. Welcome to the Jeff Crilley Show.
Well, thanks for having us, Jeff.
Okay, so we were talking off the air about the idea that the TV spots and your organization, there's a little bit of a wall there. Can you describe that?
Yeah, so a lot of times we're often mistaken for Wednesday's Child, which was a segment that ran for a long time on Channel 8 for helping children get adopted.
Yes.
And actually one of those regular viewers who tuned in really realized there was a large gap in need for foster children that weren't getting adopted but were in the foster care system. And so Friends of Wednesday's Child was actually spun out of that. And really our mission is just to support foster children in helping them with their educational needs so that we can give them the same bright futures that we've all had the opportunity to have.
That's awesome. And Lee, you've been on the board for 4 years. Chris, you just joined. What drew you to this organization, Chris?
I think this idea of foster kids in North Texas, right, it's people that can't help themselves. They're in this situation through no fault of their own, abandonment, abuse, neglect. And so the group provides some normalcy to that, and that education support, right? It all starts with education. I think the stat is something like 50% of the 6,000 foster kids in North Texas will not graduate high school.
Really?
Totally unacceptable, right? And so we're really, really trying to drive that. So I love that approach, and I love the educational focus of the org.
And I know you have a special fundraiser coming up. Is that right? Do you want to get into that, Lee?
We do. So we have an event coming up, Top Golf, this year.
Okay.
It's going to be Friday, November 11th, which is also Veterans Day. But we hope to have a great showing. Our goal is to raise $100,000 to $150,000. We've been doing a golf tournament for the last 31 years with a lot of success. We've showed up on the top of the annual golf charities for nonprofits the last several years. And our goal is to continue to climb to the top. We made a little change this year in that we decided to move it to Top Golf because it's a great venue within our city. A lot of people really enjoy it, and it was a way for us to attract a more diverse audience. So now you don't have to be a scratch golfer or have a low handicap. It's a great opportunity to come out with friends, family, coworkers, business networking, and really support a great cause at the same time.
That's awesome. Now, if somebody wants to get tickets to this, do they go on your website, or how do they sign up?
Right. If they can head over to our website, it's wedchild.org, WEDCHILD.org. And there's actually right on the landing page is a little link to get registered through Eventbrite. We've got a number of levels of sponsorship still available, so you can come and play and obey, and just it's part video game, part golf, right? So everybody loves Top Golf. You can come and just play, or you can actually sponsor at a higher level and really help us out impact these kids' lives.
That's awesome. Lee, since you've been on the board for 4 years, have you had a chance to meet some of the young people that you're helping, and does anybody stand out in your mind in terms of, wow, this is why I do this?
That is a great question. We work tirelessly as a board to continue to innovate and do everything we can to support education for these kids. We've now put education specialists in the schools who are advocating on their behalf. On average, they're changing about 3 times a year, and every time they make a change to a new foster home, that means a new school district, which means they lose about 6 months on average of their education.
Wow.
And so we really try to make an honest effort from time to time to hear different stories of foster children that we've actually impacted. And I will tell you, more often than not, it has brought the board members to tears. One of the ones that I specifically recall was a young lady. We had actually given her a scholarship as well as an extracurricular activity, which is an important component to them being able to foster and have a good opportunity for a bright future. So we provided her with dance lessons and a scholarship, and she wrote into the board of Friends of Wednesday's Child and just said, because of us and our organization and what we're doing, it's allowing her the opportunity to do something that she's never been able to do. And she said when she's dancing, she's going to be thinking of us, and that she's going to be working very hard in her education so that she can get her college degree and be different and have a great future. So for us, that's what it's all about. I'm a single mom myself. I have a passion for kids. And when I found out that Friends of Wednesday's Child was the only organization in North Texas that's really owning and supporting foster children and advocating on their behalf, for me it was a no-brainer to jump in and see what we could do to help.
That's awesome. And the foster care system does not just, I mean, the reason why you guys are so necessary is because the system does just, are these children that fall through the cracks of care, or what happens?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of focus on supporting these children in terms of, where they're located and finding good families and following up on sort of that core of what they need, right? Supporting them in a good environment. But education, unfortunately, it does a little bit start to slip, right? And so, the Success in Schools program that we drive, sort of our marquee program, right? It provides some continuity for these kids. We have these specialists that they advocate on behalf of these children in their schools. We provide tutoring. It's that they're guides on the education side, because that does lose focus, and it is such an important part.
And I think to Chris's point, what we've found over the years is, the state has come out with certain mandates on behalf of these foster kiddos. But unfortunately, the resources through Child Protective Services and other private agencies are just not there. So the benchmarks are in place, but there's really no one there to carry that out. So Friends of Wednesday's Child has really taken it upon ourselves to carry this out for these kids so that we can ultimately give them the support they need around education and ultimately get them off to a better start than they were given at the beginning of life.
My guests right now, Lee Harris and Chris Reynolds. They're on the board of Friends of Wednesday's Child. That's wedchild.org. If you'd like to sign up for their Top Golf event coming up here in just a few weeks. And I guess let's talk more about how the ages of the children. I think sometimes it's hard for somebody to get their mind around a problem until they see the face. Are we talking about very young children? Are they teenagers? Who are we talking about?
That is a great question. So again, we mentioned there's 6,000 foster kids. So there's a lot out there just in North Texas, and they really are running all age ranges. So from 5, 6 years old, talking kindergarten, first grade level, all the way through high school. So we've really identified, our hope is to catch them earlier on in elementary school. We've got a really good mix right now in our Success in School program. We've got about 30% in elementary and about another 40% or so in middle school and high school. But our goal is the sooner that we can get working with them in their educational life, the more we can stress the importance of education in their life and how that can lead to better outcomes for them.
That's awesome. Chris, did you want to add something?
Well, I was just going to say, we talk about the 6,000, right? And while our Success in Schools program is fantastic, we provide a lot of service to a small group of children. So, for instance, we have 2 cohorts running today. We're adding a third in the fall, and they're 25 students each. So while we're growing and really adding to our capabilities, we've got to push further. And that's where we need the support, right? That's where we get to the Top Golf and we get to donors and sponsorships, because we're providing this high level of service, but, we're impacting relatively small numbers of lives, right now, and there's opportunity to grow. We have a wait list right now in Success in Schools of, what are we knocking on 50's door, Lee?
Yeah.
So, there's a need right there based on what people know today, and that's just going to grow further. So we need to make sure we're really growing and supporting.
Do you guys have volunteer opportunities if somebody's listening to this and they may not have the ability to write a check, but they do want to get involved? Are there any opportunities for people to volunteer?
So that's something that we're constantly working on. We've had some limitations with that because of foster children and, having to have that anonymity.
Right.
So it does make it a little more difficult than other organizations to have volunteers. But we hold 2 big events each year, our golf tournament in the fall and a luncheon in the spring. And so those are typically opportunities where if someone doesn't have the financial means, but they'd like to donate their time, we can always use volunteers at those events. And everybody's got great friends, great networks. You've got a company that you work for. So just really spreading awareness about a really good cause, and really every little bit does count. As Chris mentioned, we've got 40 kids on the wait list right now trying to get into our Success in School program. On average, it's about $6,000 a year for a child to go through a year of the Success in School program. So every dollar truly does count.
Well, and we've we're open to creativity, right? I mean, like Lee said, it's something we think a lot about. It's kind of behind the scenes, but we do some things around birthday cards for these children, right? They change homes frequently. Another point, it's small but important, right? And so there's an opportunity there at your company or group to grab a group and do some birthday cards, or if you have an idea and you're particularly touched by this, reach out, let us know, and we'll talk and we'll figure out a way for you to get involved. There's a lot of opportunity.
And in terms of like changing the path of a child's life, you guys come in early enough, you can really make a difference, can't you?
This is huge. I cannot stress enough. I mean, these kids left unattended without the importance of education, they become the horrible statistics we hear about that are in poverty or teens having babies, incarceration. So, this is a rampant problem. And so our goal is just to give them the tools and resources to facilitate a better life for them, and to really have an advocate on their behalf working with them throughout their adolescent years to stress the importance of education and how it can truly change their life.
Let's wrap up by plugging the Top Golf event again. Lee, do you want to take that? When is it?
So please, we would love anyone and everyone. Friday, November 11th, our event is from 2 to 6 p.m. at Top Golf in Dallas. Our website is www.wedchild, that's WED, child.org, and there's a link to our event, and we really hope to see you there.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for having us.
All right, when we come back, she may have the best gig in Dallas. She watches movies and then tells us whether it's worth our popcorn money. Libby's Movie Hunt, just ahead.